Hello, friends, and Merry Christmas to you. I hope you are finding your holidays to be exciting and fun. Today, I'm going to do a quick stamping video with you just to demonstrate some different ways that you could use stamps on red, white, and green nails. These nails do not necessarily need to go together. But I wanted to show a couple different things because there are a lot of layered stamps right now out on the market, and it can be a little tricky to do these. So I'm going to do like a combination of different things, some layered stamping and some just straight stamping as well, to create sort of a motif of Christmas, if you will. So the first one we're working on is a tin soldier. You can see it over in the corner there, that I'm stamping these parts individually. So this can be a little challenging. You have to, challenging because it takes a little extra time at the salon to do this. So you want to plan ahead if you're going to be doing this kind of thing. It's not that each part isn't quick, but the totality of doing all the different layers does take a few minutes. So you wouldn't want to do more than one or two of these unless you planned on spending quite a while with your client. So I have just stamped the body, the face, and the hat. And I apologize because I know my hand is off screen when I'm actually laying down the stamp. I promise I won't do that for the whole video. I don't know what I was doing there. But I do bring it back. I bring it back on the screen. So there you go. So there is the base. That is the underneath layer. And then you can see on the stamp over there, there's this little face and his parts. I just covered the face. So I'm going to stamp these little bits. It does help to pull the scraper sideways if you can, and use a smaller stamper if possible. I'm using my ice cube, but smaller one works good too. And you do need a really clear stamper. I'm just going to zoom in so you can kind of see a little better. You need a really clear stamper on the back side because if you're trying to line these things up, oftentimes it takes a little trickery and you have to be even-handed when you're layering over, or you will end up either squishing it out of the original stamp or being too narrow on the original stamp. So it's not as easy as it really looks. I've seen a lot of videos where people do it, and I've done it myself, and like I said, it can be a little tricky to navigate those different parts. I often find myself too ending up sort of hand painting in parts that I feel like should be there, and I do this with the stamp as well. I am going to paint him in some arms because he doesn't have any, and I'm also going to touch up his face because I don't always like the way it comes out, and I'm going to give him a nose because there is no nose, oddly, on the stamp, the layered part. So they do take a little bit of tweaking is really what that comes down to. I am going to go ahead and outline. I wanted to give this one a little bit of a frame because he wasn't quite as tall as I was thinking he was going to be once he was done. So what I did was I bordered the outside edge, almost like a reverse stamp, in gold. And that actually worked out really well because I end up tying that in across the other nails as well. And it just gives him a look like, sort of like he's standing inside the, what do they call those? The guard shack? Are they a guard shack? They could be. So there you go, your toy soldier, or your nutcracker, whichever you prefer to look at him as, in his little shack. And now we're going to do some layered trees. So for this one, I'm using the same stamp, but I'm going to sort of plan it out. So again, you got to have a little forethought here. You can't just go stamp happy. But you can see, again, there are two other parts to that. There's some garland and then some red dots. So again, I'm going to zoom in so that you can see a little bit better what I'm doing close up. So there you go. Now I've layered two trees. So I've got one further back and one further forward. And then I'm going to put the garland on. And I'll do that to both trees, and then I'll put the red dots on both trees. So again, it takes a few minutes because you got to layer each piece. It took me a minute to find polish, so I ended up cutting the video there because you didn't need to wait for it. So that's the garland. I brought the camera back out because I felt like it was better to see where I'm getting these layers from than being close up to the actual tree itself. We'll get closer to the tree again after, but In the final shot and the beginning shot at the beginning of the video, you can actually see these in much better detail than you can on the video. Unfortunately, I feel like this video was a little bit dark. Sometimes I don't always know that until I go to editing, and then I'm like, oh, really? So, but, you know, it is what it is. That's what happens when you're an amateur videographer. Because really, I just like to do nails. But I got involved in this whole crazy process of filming it, and then I had to do something with it. Okay, so I have finished that part. Now I'm going to go in. I've put my stars on the top, and that's where I tied in my gold. And now I'm adding some snow. And while that paint is wet, I'm going to dip it in some glitter, just like that, so that it gives it a little bit of whimsy, because, you know, I love glitter. I love glitter. And that's that nail done. So we're going to move on. I tried not to bore you to death with stamping because I feel like it's been done and overdone, but it can be really helpful and useful. Sometimes when you're, you know, looking to work uniformly, I think is the way to put it. So I'm switching stamping plates. By the way, all of them are either Manilogy or Jelly Stampers. Those are the two. This one's going to be super simple. We're just going to scrape white. It's a Merry Christmas with a Santa and a moon and all that stuff. It looks like snow. And we're going to stamp that right on. I could have gotten fancier with this one, but I decided to just let it be. To just let it be what it was. And I like it because it does tie into the white next to it, because it ends up being the next nail over that has the snow on it. So there you go. Just like that. And we're done with that one. So we have 2 nails left to go. This one is the Jelly Stamper plate. I will say the one thing I dislike about this plate is that the etching is not deep enough, and so you have to be super, super light-handed when you're scraping. You can see it almost looks like a mess over there because I have to scrape so lightly that I'm really just spreading out the polish. I'm not really able to clean the plate at all. It does not affect the stamping, though, as far as that goes. Like, I don't end up picking up things I don't want. I do end up just picking up the design, but there you go. I am going to zoom in for this one so I can just show you how I touch up. A lot of times with stamps, I will end up touching up. So I use the stamp kind of as a suggestion or an outline. And then I go in and I give it a little zhuzhing to make it a little more what I want it to be. I don't know where I picked that word up from, but I love it. Zhuzhing. It just sounds like, I don't know, very fancy. A very fancy way of saying I colored it in some more. I don't know. I entertained myself. I don't know what to tell you. So on top of that one, we're going to do it simple. So it's going to be a present. And then we are going to go back to that other plate and we're going to pull up I think it's Merry and Bright is what it says. So I do like stamping plates, I think, for words. That is my favorite way to use a stamping plate, is to do these little words, because that is much faster for me than having to try to hand paint tiny itty bitty words. Not that I can't do it, I can, but it just takes a lot of time. This does not. I just go shunk and I'm done. So there we have that. I'm changing plates again. Oh yes, I'm going back to this one. So I use this in another video as well. This is super old. I have had this stamp for a really, really long time, and I did get it off Amazon. I don't remember who the brand was. It was not it wasn't like a Marquette or any of those kind of companies. It was just like a generic, I guess you would call it. What am I doing right now? So what I am doing right now is I'm back coloring with green the little filigree parts, the little snowflakey filigree parts. I probably could have picked a different color, but I wanted to stick with my red, green, and gold that I had going on. And why I did that was to just give a little bit of color to the background, because otherwise the gold may not have shown up as well. So I did that just to give it, you'll find that I do that a lot with stamps. If I'm using a really rich polish color, then I will end up using white or something to fill in that background. All right, and here we go. This is all 5 of them. And I am top coating them with the Manilogy Smudge Free Top Coat because sometimes I find that if I don't super float my top coat, I can accidentally drag it, and I don't want to do that. And there you go. Those are them up close, and I will show you a picture which is much better quality than what you're seeing right there. There they are. So 5 ways to stamp. I do have some little filigree glitter on the back of those, and it made it a little challenging when I was stamping. But hey, it's all good. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.